Hey, how's it going? TRX Traveler Adam here. This video is for the Full Body Intensity Program. There's a link to it just below if you're interested. Let's get straight to it. Okay guys, so this is workout 1, block 1, day 1. Let's get straight into it. So, the first one is 5 minutes ab workout. I'm going to show you what I personally think is the best ab work to do. It's really simple and you just do it rotating for 5 minutes non-stop. So, get your bands right down. You want them about 6 inches off the ground. And what we're going to do, we're going to do 3 exercises to target upper, lower and sides. Now, you can start these, whichever one you want first. There's no particular order as long as you keep doing them and you just rotate and rotate and rotate. This is the order I like to do. So I like to start with what I call a TRX jackknife. And these are tricky, so don't worry if you can only do two or three. Now the key is, of course, tempo. We're all about time under tension with this program. So it's 4 seconds up, 4 seconds contraction hold, and 4 seconds down. And we just repeat that. It's slow and it's long and it's intense because our ab muscles are slow twitch fibers. So to exhaust them and to really work them so they develop, we want to do slow tempos and keep real time under tension. They're always working the abs, even when you're standing or sitting, they're working. So, I would advise you to put your hands sort of outside like this, not straight on, because you're going to end up hurting your wrist a little bit over like that. So put your hands either side, get set, get comfortable, and contract the abs and pull up for 1, 2, 3, 4, hold it, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm really squeezing my abs super hard here, back down for 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's go again. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Super squeeze, hard as possible for 4 seconds. Back down for 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's it. And you're going to go as many as you can, until you start failing. Until you do fail. Go for as long as you can. Immediately turn over. Really simple, hands together. And you're going to go for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you're going to really squeeze here. I want you to squeeze as hard as you can this whole bit. So it's squeezing for 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Super hard squeeze. Squeeze the abs for 4 seconds, and then back round for 1, 2, 3, 4. This is your little bit of a break between the next one and the first one. And again, squeeze for 4 seconds. So that's it. It's 4 seconds super hard squeeze, 4 seconds rotating around, 4 seconds super hard squeeze. Repeat until you fail again. And then you move straight onto the third one. And the third one is just knees to chest. And again, we can really focus on getting a super hard squeeze here. So again, put your hands out to the side a little bit. Get set. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Squeeze. 1, 2, 3, 4. And back down. 1, 2, 3, 4. And see how I like to fully extend, and then back up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Squeeze super hard. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then back down. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's your 3 exercises, and you keep going. So I like to use the rotations, these ones, as the break. So now I'll go back and do rotations, and then I'd go back and do the jackknives, rotations, knees to chest. And you just keep going and going for 5 minutes, and you'll feel your abs exhaust. When you finish, when you've done your 5 minutes, and you'll know it, you can maybe only do 2 or 3 repetitions of this whole cycle. Squeeze your abs and bend over slightly, and really mind to muscle. Let's really focus and squeeze them super hard. Just really, really work them, yeah? So that's it. You'll be pretty warm after that, obviously. When we're jumping into each one of these, I'm assuming you've done your warm-up, 10-15 minutes. You've warmed up, you've stretched. There's a warm-up in the program. Follow that, or do your own, as long as you're feeling warm and loose. That's what we want. No aches, no pains, obviously. So, once you've done your abs, we're on to the first exercise. And the first one is quads pistol squat. My absolute all-time favourite. I love these, and the reason I love these is because you can get such an incredible hard contraction at the top. As soon as you get up, right at the top, you can squeeze so hard. It feels awesome. It feels like your quad muscle is going to burst out your leg. It feels awesome. So, Let's get the TRX set up first. Going to pull these a little bit. Now, there's never any correct way to set up handles of a TRX, and you know, your experience with TRX will know this. The only correct way is what feels comfortable with you. Obviously, yes, if we're doing abs, they need to be down there, but just find what feels comfortable with you. You know, I just know from experience that about this length, it's just right for me for pistol squats to get a good balance. Now, this is pistol squats, and it's quads, so it's quad focused. Now, we need to connect, we need to put our mind inside our quads here, okay? So, when we're doing these, it's no good pistol squatting and leaning back, because we're going to put weight over our glutes and hamstrings more. So when we're pistol squatting for quads, quad focus, we want to be leaning over the quad, so the weight is directly transferred over the quad. Now, again, the tempo is 4 seconds down, 0 at the bottom, 1 second up, and 2 second hard contraction at the top. Now, what do we do at the bottom? We contract the hamstring at the bottom, because when we're right down and we contract the hamstring, that lengthens the quad more. So that means when we start, we're taking the quad from a lengthened position right up to a contracted position. Bigger range of motion, better development. How does that look? So get comfortable. Now, remember what I said. I like to get in line, so I like to put my feet centrally in line with the axis. Get wet, as long as you have, these are just for balancing and maybe to give you a little bit of a help, but ideally I don't want you to rely on that. So pistol squats, we lean over the leg and we go down for 1, 2, 3, 4. We contract the hamstring at the bottom. See how far down? Grasp the ass, sitting right down, and we contract the quad to come back up, and then we squeeze the quad as hard as you can for 2 seconds. And then we go back down for 1, 2, 3, 4, contract hamstring, come back up, squeeze the quad, 1, 2, and back down, 1, 2, 3, 4, and back up, and squeeze the quad, 1, 2, and back down. Now, what does it look like when I'm squeezing that quad? It looks like this. I'm coming back up and my leg is squeezing as hard as I can. I'm really squeezing. Now, I'm not very lean at the moment, so you can't see any sort of separation or striations, but I'm squeezing that super hard at the top, super hard, and then back down. Now, of course, we're going to failure on every set. So, once you start reaching the rep ranges, and remember from the introduction vid, the rep ranges are just a guide. It's up to you to decide what you can achieve, and you'll know that by when you start to fail. So, when we start to fail, so let's say I'm getting to the end, I know, so I'm doing one more, maybe I've got to 8 or 9 reps, and I'm doing one more, and I know that this one is really hard, and I only just get back up, and I know that I'm not going to be able to do the full one. We then go into partials, so we do our partials. You go halfway down for 4 seconds, up, squeeze, halfway down for 4 seconds, up, squeeze, and you'll get to the point where you just can't even do halfways. So then I want you just to pump like this, just pump, and then you'll get to the point where you can't pump, and I want you to try and hold yourself, and then eventually you'll begin to slowly fail and go down. We go down as slow as possible. Use these to help. Slow as possible all the way down. And then what do we do as soon as we finish? We contract the muscle. So we contract it, squeeze it super hard. 4 or 5 seconds. And then we go straight into the 15-second stretch. And you'll know all this from the Physique Sculptor if you've done that program. So it's a 15-second stretch of the quadriceps. You can, if you want to do it like this, it's absolutely fine. If you want to just stand and hold it, again, that's absolutely fine. We're just looking to stretch it. And then you go into the other leg. So that's the key coaching for it. Once you've done both legs, again, you go up to the set ranges that are in the program. Pistol squats are tiring, they're hard, they do knack you. So if you're sweating and you're feeling bloody hell, especially taking it to failure, sometimes after I've just done 2 sets up to failure, I can barely walk up those stairs because we're really depleting the muscle. As I said in the introduction video, this is depleting the muscle across the full strength range. Concentric, isometric, eccentric. It's high intensity. So, next exercise. And we've got hamstrings, we've got TRX curls. Now I'm sure you're very sort of aware of all these exercises, guys. I'm just going over the coaching, especially if you've done the physique sculptor. I'm just wanting to reiterate the coaching point techniques, really sort of lock it in there. So, hamstring curls, again about 6 inches off the floor. So we know this, we get into our back. Now, key points for hamstring curls. When you extend it back out to straighten it, contract the quadricep. Why? Why do we contract the quad? Same reason. Antagonistic muscles. Contracting the quad's going to lengthen the hamstring, so bigger range of motion. So, in our tempo, again, 4 seconds, 0, 1, 2. So, let's get our feet in. And remember, hands down by your side, bum off the ground, and let's go. So it's up for 1 second, contract super hard, squeeze the hamstrings as hard as possible, and then back down for 1, 2, 3, 4. Contract the quads, look how I'm contracting the quads, how straight my legs are, and then back up for a controlled 1 second, and squeeze for 2 seconds, hard as you can, and back down, 2, 3, 4. Now, when you start to fail on this one, so you get to the rep where you're like this, you're like, oh God, I can only just get it up, and you know that if you go back down, it's not coming back up. Once you get there, I want you to just do partials. So again, it's just going to be down and up and contract, down and up and contract. And then once you get to failure, I want you just to hold it as close to the bum as you can, squeeze them. And then eventually you're going to fail and the legs are going to start going down, and they go down as slow as possible, and then you're done. And then what do we do as soon as we get up? Contract them, contract the hamstrings. So sit back a little bit and squeeze. Feel like there's a big balance ball between your heels and bum, and try and squeeze it super hard. So squeeze, so you can see from this side angle, I'm really squeezing it. And then what do we do? Of course, we stretch. 15 seconds, touch your toes, and stretch that hamstring right out. Stretch it right out for 15 seconds. Just keep an eye on my time, making sure my camcorder doesn't go off. So, the third exercise is back, and it's TRX reverse grip row. My favourite rows. I absolutely love these ones. Again, it just costs the contraction you can get, like, and the stretch. You can look how far you can really stretch down, and when you contract back, you can use a little bit of your biceps at the top. So when you kind of get this position, the biceps can kind of engage a little bit and just help pull right back and up, and you can really feel the lats contracting super hard. Again, mind to muscle. Get that mind in the muscle and squeeze super hard. So let's get the straps set up. There we go. Now, as I said, stretch. So at the bottom of these reverse grip rows, really stretch out to a really tight, hard, violent peak contraction. As always, we get ourselves set. Feet placement. We take our time, make sure the straps are level, make sure we are centered. Okay, and then we get down. So look at that stretch. Look how much I'm stretching. I'm even exaggerating that stretch a little bit, just so I can get a full range of motion. And then it's 1 second up, and it's a super hard contraction at the top. Squeeze those lats. Squeeze for 2 seconds, and back down. And I could actually even go a bit more harder there. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Stretch. Back up. Super hard squeeze. 1, 2. Back down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stretch and up. Super hard squeeze. 1, 2, and back down. Now you're going to get to the point where you can't do another full rep, and you're going to have done this one, and you're going to be like, oh my God, if I go back down, I'm not coming back up. So then, again, what do? We do partials. It's the same principle as failure. We go down, we do partials, and back up. Squeeze. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Back up. Squeeze. And then you're going to get to the point where you're just going to have to do pumps. So it's little pumps. You're literally sort of hanging on for dear life. Little pumps. And then you're going to get to the point where you can just hold it. Arms are probably going to be shaking a little bit. And you're really squeezing the lats, squeezing the upper back, squeeze them super hard. Hold, hold, and then you're going to get to the point where you're lowering slowly, 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 and straight into a stretch, and that's it. So again, go to the rep range. It's just a guide. Then you'll get to the point where on your last rep you're like, oh my god, this is it. Then you go to partials, then you go to pumps, then you go to holding, and then you go to lowering, full range. And of course, what do? We then look to mind to muscle even more and squeeze the muscle that we've just done. So you can sort of lat flare a little bit if you want, and squeeze, and you can just really squeeze the lats, and then let's stretch them out. So it will be 15 seconds for this side, and then 15 seconds for this side. Next exercise, chest, and it's knees, body weight, press up. Same tempo, 4 seconds down, 0, 1, 2. Now, if you've watched my press up videos before, you'll know that I'm a massive advocate of press ups when they're done correctly. They are all you need for chest development, but they have to be done correctly. Now, when I say done correctly, what does that mean? It means constantly pushing the hands together, So we get down. You want it shoulder width, just shoulder width apart, no wider, not any more inner. Don't listen to all the different variations and stuff you can do. We want just shoulder width so we can get a good squeeze, we can get a long range of motion, so it's not too short like this, it's not too on our triceps like this, it's bang in the middle. And by pushing our hands together, it's going to place the emphasis on the chest. So these are hard. And you want, as you go down, just keep it in line with your nipple. The sort of lower you are, the more you can squeeze your chest together. So my elbows here are really squeezing my chest together, and that's what you want. The higher up you are, that's really hard for me to squeeze my chest muscles together. You can feel it. So drop your shoulders down and squeeze. Really good squeeze there. Raise them up higher, try and squeeze. It's harder. So next to nipples, quite low, and we want to squeeze our hands together. I know I keep repeating that, and I apologise, but I just really want to lock that home. So I'm over my hands here, I'm over my wrists, and I'm now pushing my hands in. I'm pushing them together, and it's down for 4, pushing my hands together, back up, control for 1, squeeze at the top, and by squeezing, I'm pushing my hands together as hard as possible. 2 seconds, and back down. 1, 2, 3, 4, and up, and squeeze. Squeeze for 2 seconds, back down. 1, 2, 3, 4, and back up. And now when you get to the point of failure, again, once you start and hit the rep range, you're going to get to the point where you can only just get back up. When you get to this point, you're like, oh my god, can't do any more. So what do? We go back down, and then we just do partials, squeezing, and back down, squeezing, and back down, and then we just go into hold. When we can't get any more, we hold, and then we lower. Trust me, you're going to fail quite fast on these when you're doing them properly. Remember, it's all about pushing your hands together. Push the hands together. That's how we then squeeze the chest. It's just the same. How am I contracting my chest now? I'm squeezing them together. I'm pushing them together. We're taking that same contraction into an exercise. What do we do after? Squeeze the chest together. Squeeze it together. And then, of course, we stretch. And I like to do the standard stretch of the chest like this for 15 seconds either side. And you can really feel that, Okay, our next exercise, it's the front raised shoulders hammer grip into TRX shoulder tees. So what are we doing? We're targeting front deltoid, front shoulder muscle, middle muscle. Pumping, lots of pumping, keeping a shorter range of motion, so we're not hanging on the joints, we're not losing tension on the muscle. Keep a shorter range of motion and keep that pumping, keep that mind to muscle, keep focusing, keep technique. It gets super hard because this is a superset. So the first one is the shoulder TRX front raise hammer grip. The second one is the shoulder TRX tees. So what do we do with that? Shoulders, front raise, we know these from before. It's hammer grip. So especially with these shoulder raises, I like to start where I'm sort of contracting, which is kind of up here at the top. It's not kind of, it is. So you don't need to be like this because you're just going to fail so fast. Like I can barely pull myself back up there. You want to be pretty much almost standing vertical with these, and you're going to tire quite fast. So I like to start where I'm going to sort of end, and Don't over contract your shoulders back too much, because we don't want to be pulling up with our back. It's just a very neutral grip. Remember, the hands are just sort of hooks. Keep your arms almost straight with a slight bend. Down, 1, 2, 3, 4, up. Squeeze for 2 seconds. And by squeeze, what do I mean? I mean you're pulling back, you're pulling your body up, and down. 1, 2, 3, 4, up. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, up. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And these are hard. Now, how do you know when you're failing these? When you're failing, you're going to get to the point where you can't pull yourself back up because the front deltoids are just depleted too much. And you'll know that on your last one. You'll be like this. You'll be like, oh. That's when you know that you just need to do little pumps. And it looks daft because it looks like I'm barely moving, but just go into little pumps, and then go into holding, and then go into a slow low. Now, I made it look a little bit easy there because I hadn't reached the rep range and I wasn't at full failure, but by the end of that, you're going to be shaking, honestly, trust me. And if you feel the front deltoid, you're going to feel a lovely little pump from it. Feels great. Of course, there's a superset, so as soon as you fail, you go into T's, and we know how to do T's. I'm just going to give myself a bit more length there. With these, we are protracting as much as possible. We're not retracting because we don't want the upper back to come in. We are protracting. So again, I like to start where I'm going to end. Hands are just hooks. I'm protracted, and it's down. 1, 2, 3, 4, and up. 1, 2. And by 2 seconds, what am I doing? I'm trying to slap my palms to the side of the room, pushing out as hard as possible, and down. 1, 2, 3, 4, and up. 1, and down. 2, 3, 4. Now the same will happen at failure. When you reach the rep range, you'll start failing. You'll get to the point where you do your last one and you just get up like that, and you're like, if I go down, I'm not getting another full one. Okay, so what do? We do partials, little pumps, little partial pumps, little partial pumps. And then we even get to the point where we get stuck here and we're just trying to hold ourselves, and your arms are probably going to be shaking, but you're holding, and then you're going to go down as slow as possible, right to the very end. Now, the front raises are very hard. Try and hit the rep range. If you can't, don't worry, just record what you got to before you failed. We only record full reps before you failed, and then just try and improve on it each week. But just keep that technique, not like this, back too much, slightly protracted for both the T's and the front raises. And it's up and it's down, it's up and it's down, it's keeping tension. And even if you just do that, you can feel the tension on the front deltoid there. That's what we want, and wanting to drive blood and muscle into that. It's very hard because the rear, the middle shoulder and the front, it's extremely hard to get a full range of motion like you can with the quads and, you know, the chest muscle, the buys, because the position and the biomechanics of our body. So to develop them, to break them down, we need to keep time under tension, but force loads and loads of blood into that area, which will cause real good catabolic breakdown. You are wanting to achieve the pump with this type of training. And this will certainly help the time under tension, the slow negatives going to failure. And of course, once we've done that, we always contract the muscle. So how do you squeeze the sort of the middle and the front? I always find it's best to round your shoulders a bit and just kind of squeeze like this. Squeeze, and you'll feel it. That's solid there, solid. Or you can even just hold like this and kind of squeeze like that. And of course we then stretch. So pull this right over 15 seconds and 15 seconds. And then I like to just do a little behind the back like this for 15 seconds as well, just to really sort of hit the front shoulder stretch there, and also the pectorals, which come into play a little bit when we use the front shoulder muscle. Stretch it back, really contract your back. That's it. So hit the sets, hit the required rep range, and then the next exercise is bicep curls. Now, I know you're going to be well versed in these. We've done these loads. Just go over them again quickly. Get ourselves set. I like to start at the top of the exercise, and remember, what do we do at the top of curls, all curls, no, reverse hammer, normal? We rotate, so we twist our pinky up, We twist our pinky up. I'm not just doing this. I'm rotating, I'm twisting my pinky up and thumb down. Supinating. That's going to help our bicep peak, which is what Arnie had. So you can, if I demonstrate that, if I just do that, right, if I do that, you can see how the bicep lengthens there. Now, sorry, the peak of the bicep is lengthened. Now, if I twist my wrist, can you see how that peak then develops? Because the range of motion of the bicep isn't just up and down, it's wrist twist as well. It's twisting the wrist as well. Get my words muddled up. So you can see how the muscle changes there. And if I wasn't at the end of bulking and that was a bit more defined, you could really see that much better. But you can see, look how that twists and contracts. So that's what we're looking for in the range of motion. We are looking for that twist to really get that peak of the bicep. So start at the top. We get comfortable, find our position, lower it for 1, 2, 3, 4, contract the triceps because that lengthens the biceps. Same principles, antagonistic muscles. Now we contract and twist and squeeze for 1, 2, back down for 1, 2, 3, 4, contract tricep, back up and squeeze and rotate for 1, 2. And then again, you're going to get to the point where you can't do any more. So what do? Partials. Up, squeeze, 1, 2, down. Up, squeeze, 1, 2. And you're going to get to the point where you can't do partials. What do? We pump it. And pump it. Think of the Black Eyed Peas song. And pump it. And again, even with pumps, I'm twisting my wrist. Then we're going to get to the point where we can't do them and we're holding. We're holding. Isometric failure. And then eccentric failure. Going down slow. Contract the triceps, and we're done. Of course, what do we do straight after? Flex. So squeeze those biceps, squeeze them, and you can even do them at your sides. Squeeze, and then stretch. How do we stretch? We always put the thumb and the index finger along the wall. So you can see that side, thumb and index finger, and stretch like this, and you'll feel that stretch going right up here. Awesome. Okay. And the final one is triceps, skull crushers. Again, another fantastic one. Now, what are we looking for in skull crushers? It's not the peak contraction. It's not. It's the stretch. We're really focusing on stretching the tricep. So you want to get right back and stretch that tricep. Come back up. You don't even want to straighten your arm out at the top. You want to come back up a little bit and then back down. Stretch. And you'll see I even hang a little bit on that stretch, a little bit. So the tempo here is 4, 1, 1, 0. So again, it's 4 seconds down, 1 second hanging at the stretch, 1 second back up, no pause at the top because there's no peak contraction. It's not what we're looking for. We're saving that for the other exercises where we hit the tricep from a different angle. So again, you know this, get yourself set, get yourself comfortable. Now, when I do skull crushers, I don't like to hold it flat on because I find it just hurts my wrist a little bit, and I find if I twist in as I go down, I can get a bigger stretch in the tricep. So that's worth giving a go if you sort of struggle with the range of motion. So I go down for 1, 2, 3, 4. Look how much I'm stretching. Look how far back my hands are, and I'm really pushing the triceps back as far as possible. And then I come up and I twist, and I go back down for 1, 2, 3, 4, stretch, and back up, and down for 1, 2, 3, 4, stretch. Now you're going to get to the point again, of course, where you reach failure, and you're not going to be able to do another full one. So what do? We go right back down, and we just do a partial halfway up, and back down, and a partial halfway up, and back down, and a partial. And then what do? We hold it. Once we can't do any more partials, we hold it, we hold it, we hold it, and then we slowly lower, until we get to the bottom. These are great to exhaust, and you'll find that once you do exhaust, it's a lot harder to get even up, so you end up just doing like really small little partials, and that's fine, that's absolutely fine. Just go for it, really dig in deep, mind to muscle connection. And that was the last exercise of block 1, workout 1, day 1. So fantastic, awesome work, guys. Dig in deep, follow the tempo in the program, the reps, the sets, it's all there in the program. Any questions, drop me an email, put it in the comments below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I'll put a link to the next coaching video for this program, which is day 2, up just right now. And yeah, check that out. And of course the individual videos, so this video is cut up into individual videos, is just below, the link to it. Thanks very much for watching.